denuclearisation happened in Ukraine during the USSR period, and they were a big manufacturer. Ukraine actually had nuclear weapons when it became independent. It had quite an arsenal of nuclear weapons. And so you have the US with nuclear weapons and a handful of other countries. And suddenly there's this new independent country that, by virtue of its inheritance, has got all these USSR nuclear weapons. And the United States is particularly uncomfortable about this. And they wanted a thing called the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. They wanted to keep the number of people in the club with nuclear weapons to a minimum. So they cajoled and pressured and persuaded Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapons, to sell them to Russia. They were given money to sell their stuff to Russia. It wasn't millions and millions of dollars, I think it was 600,000 US. And Ukraine was very uncomfortable about this. It wanted this magic word called a guarantee. Now you might think a guarantee and a warranty and an assurance are all the same. But if you've ever been involved in legal contracts, you realise that no, they're not all the same. And the US, and eventually the UK were in on this treaty, called the Budapest Treaty. US and UK, they would not use the word guarantee, because in international law that means something. And Ukraine knew that they needed that word. But Ukraine still felt that they had to give in. So they sold all their nuclear weapons, left themselves totally defenceless, on an assurance, that's the word, assurance, that the US and the UK would come to their aid if ever they were attacked. And what did Barack Obama do in 2014 when Russia took Crimea, roughly 18% of the country? He just blinked. And a couple of sanctions, that's all. And yet he's a representative of one of the biggest, the most powerful country in the world, and he gave an assurance, he and his forebears. So yeah, they feel a bit ripped off. Really ripped off. Yeah,
I've just been reading a book written from a Christian perspective in Iraq as to what happened after America got out. Just insurgency, absolute chaos.
Yeah. If I was an American citizen, I would probably generally make my vote be based on domestic policies. I think many people in most countries, when they vote for a politician, they're just thinking about their domestic situation. But yeah, it's been very difficult, but thankfully America's still getting some money. Thankfully Europe's getting more money, but it's just too little. It really is. It's very sad when you're there and you see in the streets all these people missing so many bits of their bodies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We have coffee and biscuits. Biscuits are over where the food was. Coffee's in the back. And Bill's telling us something there.
Doggy bags.
Doggy bags.
Doggy bags if you want some more food. Feel free. The night's not over. Feel free to talk. Come up and talk to John. Have a look at his books. See how much he wants for them.